The king who believed his crown was his skull. On identification with the office. A king had worn his crown for so long that it had ceased to come off. When he had first been crowned, at the age of 19, the crown had been merely a circle of cold gold, heavy but removable. He had taken it off at night. He had taken it off in his private rooms with his queen in the early years of their marriage before she had died. He had taken it off when he had been ill, which had been rarely. In the mornings he had put it on with both hands and looked at himself in the mirror, and he had thought, in those first years, of how strange a thing it was that a circle of gold could change so much. 40 years had passed. He had not, in those 40 years, kept careful track of when he stopped removing the crown at night. The queen had died in the 8th year. He had begun, after her death, to sleep with the crown on his pillow. He had begun, in the 15th year, to sleep with the crown still on his head. The pillow had been too far for his tired hands. He had told himself, the first few times, that it was only an exception. The exceptions had become the rule. By the 20th year, the crown had become uncomfortable to remove. He had felt, when he had pulled at it, a small resistance, as if the metal had begun to want to stay. He had pulled harder, removed it, set it on the table beside him. He had felt his bare head with his fingers. The bone of his skull had felt, where the crown had pressed, slightly raised. He had not, in the 20th year, made much of this. By the 30th year, the crown could not be removed without considerable effort. He had not removed it for some years. He had simply slept in it. He no longer remembered on most nights that he was wearing it. The crown had become, in his consciousness, simply the top of his head. By the 40th year, the crown had grown into his head. The metal had pressed into the bone of his skull, and the bone had grown up around the metal, and the two had become one substance. He could feel, with his fingers, the seam where the crown met the skull. He could not pry the seam apart. He could not even, when he tried, identify with certainty which side of the seam was gold and which was bone. His doctor, who had served him for 30 of those 40 years, offered, in the king's 61st year, to cut the crown free. The doctor brought a small fine saw. He brought a wedge. He brought a young assistant. He came into the king's chambers with the air of a man who has been preparing, for many years, to do an unpleasant thing. The king looked at the saw. He had aged. He was thinner than he had been at 19. The crown, which had been heavy on a young head, looked now too large on a thin one. It sat on him like a great weight on a small post. "If you cut the crown off," said the king, "I will lose my head." "You will not lose your head," said the doctor. "You will lose the crown. The crown will come away. The skull may bleed, but it will heal. The bone has only grown up around the metal. The bone has not become the metal. You will have a bare head for the first time in 40 years. You will feel light. The queen, were she alive, would not recognize you. That is not, in this case, a bad thing." "They are the same," said the king. The doctor sighed. He had expected this answer. He had brought the saw anyway. He set down the saw. He sat with the king for an hour. "Majesty," he said, "I will speak plainly because I have served you for 30 years and because no one else will. The crown is not your head. It was a circle of cold gold once. It became your head only because you wore it without setting it down. The setting down would have been the work. You did not do the work. You did not, in fact, in your 40 years, do any work that was not the work of being king. You did not, in your 40 years, have a friend. You did not, in your 40 years, walk in a garden without the crown on. You did not, in your 40 years, hold a child of your own who was not announced before being brought in. You have lived inside the crown. The crown has not lived inside you. It has lived where you used to live." The king wept. The doctor had not seen him weep since the death of the queen 33 years before. "I cannot," said the king. "I know. If you cut it off, I know. The man under the crown died many years ago. The crown is the only thing keeping him together. If I cut it off, you will fall apart. That is, in some sense, what should happen. But I am an old man, and I have served you, and I will not be the one who does it. I will leave the saw. You may, in your own time, decide, or you may not. Most kings, in my experience, do not." The doctor left. The king kept the saw on the table beside his bed for the rest of his life. He looked at it each evening. He did not, in the end, use it. He died at 67 in his bed with the crown still in his head. The doctor, by then very old, came to confirm the death. He looked at the crown, he sighed. He spoke to his wife that night by the fire. He has already lost his head, said the doctor. He lost it in the 20th year when he stopped removing the crown at night. The crown was, after that, the only thing keeping him together. It held the bone in place. It held the man in place. We could have cut it off in any of the last 20 years, and he would have fallen apart, and we would have had a body without a king. He preferred to die as a king without a body. I do not exactly blame him. The office is a strong drink. He drank it for 40 years. There was no man left to liberate. There was only the office with a name attached. The king was buried in the crown. The gravediggers could not separate them. They tried, briefly, the bone came with the metal. They closed the coffin and lowered it into the tomb. The kingdom went on. The next king, when he was crowned, took the crown off that night. The doctor, who lived another 2 years, had specifically instructed him to. The office becomes the man if the man wears it long enough. After a certain point, there is no man. To liberate, there is only the office with a name attached. The crown will not let go. The bone has grown up around the gold. The work, if it is to be done, is in the early years when the metal is still cold. By the 40th year, the sore on the bedside is decoration. Most kings do not, in the end, use it.